Have you ever felt so scattered within your leadership and organizing projects that you don't know what to accomplish or what should be accomplished right here, right now? In this episode of Shift Your Lens, we're going to talk a bit about what are some tactics that you can use in your leadership to help you stay organized, stay prioritized, and execute on the initiatives that you have set before you, and you could look like a champ while doing it. Welcome to the Leader's Lens, Shift Your Lens episodes. If you have a particular leadership challenge that you want to have answered on this series, be sure to click the link below and fill out a survey so that way you can get your question answered in this episode series, and it can help you in your leadership today. In this particular, we had a leader who is subscribed to the Leader's Lens newsletter, which, by the way, subscribe to that, has talked about the challenges of managing their time, challenges of prioritizing their work, and the challenges of switching between big tasks and small tasks within their workspace. Now, again, in our roles as middle managers, we are constantly bombarded with things on my face, bugs out here. We're constantly bombarded with the amount of requests, tasks, fires that we're putting out, being operational within our workspaces, that it becomes really difficult to figure out exactly what should we be working on, or how do we shift our context so we can be effective on the day-to-day work and the longer term strategies that we're executing. You know, there are some philosophies out there that talk about how hard it is for us to switch context, to go from one thing to another. And honestly, it takes about 8 to 10 more times an effort to go from one task to another, and you lose momentum and productivity in that way. And I completely get that. As somebody who has been overseeing upwards of 20 people at a time with different contexts within that they're working on, you might get a Teams message on 1 minute talking about one project, but then an email comes in talking about a different project, and then your mind just goes in different directions because it's like, what do you focus on at that time? Here's some tactics that have been beneficial to me that I wanted to take to y'all as well, and then let me know what tactics work for you as you manage your time and your work within the workspace. First one being is you got to be able to identify all the big projects and problems that are happening. Make a list of all the areas where are going to cause big work efforts within your mind or within your team. And you can even size them up by small, medium, or large, so you can give some context on what that means. Now, you as a team can decide, and you as a leader can decide what's a small, medium, large effort, whether it is by time, whether it is by the amount of work efforts that it takes to put into it, whether it is based upon the organizational strategy and the goals that you are asked to accomplish, and you could put a size on that as well. Being able to identify those areas can help define the key goals related to my dog. Being able to identify those key big tactics can help understand what is necessary within a window of 2 weeks, 1 month, 1 year, what have you, right? Then, as you identify those big tactics, you map it out. You start looking at your calendar, you start looking at what is due or what is priority based upon the organizational goals, and put that into a particular framework so it allows you to understand what you should be focusing on, what your team should be focusing on at that particular time frame. Now, this is the big area that I really enjoy: creating time block working sessions. This allows us to fully be in the flow and contextualize a particular work effort in a moment. There are techniques out there where you look at whether it is 30 minutes, 90 minutes, 2 hours, 4 hours if you can, of just complete, utterly focused time, where you're sitting down and that's all that you're working on, 1 or 2 tasks related to that particular effort, and that is all that you're working on. Now, the problem here is, again, because of our nature of our work, we have competing priorities happening around us. So you as a leader has to truly work well within your teams and understanding what are the sessions and times where they are completely focused, and protect that time for them. So if 10 to 2 is the time frame where it's no meeting zones, you're focusing on a particular project, then you are the one that's the gatekeeper. You're battling off any type of issues or any type of requests that are coming into the team that's going to completely take away from their focus. That has to be part of the work that you do as your leader, as a leader of that team, to help execute. And then also you can do that for yourself as well, where you're blocking out time in your calendar for certain times of the day where you just put your heads down, dedicated work, and then you can pop up and do the meetings, to dedicate time to look at emails, dedicated time to look at IMs or meeting times or what have you. But you have to schedule out your day within 8 hours, 6 hours, whatever your time day is, whatever your work time is. Start blocking out times within the period to focus on what matters most within your priority list. Then, as you're creating those time blocks and communicating out to your fellow team members or peers about what time is dedicated focus time, what time is meeting or social time, creating those transitions so that way you can come in and out of context. The great thing about it as human beings is that we're not robots. We can't just transition from one thing to another. So creating those really dedicated times within the periods of time blocking or within the periods of focus sessions can allow you to kind of get up and breathe, stretch, get some ice cream, whatever reward is necessary for you to show that you can rest and relax so you can sustain yourself throughout the day. And then lastly, as you go through your period of time blocking or your period of focused efforts, you take a time to stop and pause and pivot, or you take a time to stop, reassess, and pivot if necessary, if whether or not that work session worked well for you. Let's say that you have dedicated 2 hours a day to work on big priority tasks for you and your teams. Then at the end of the week or 2 weeks, you take a step back and say, okay, did we actually accomplish the 8 to 10 related tasks associated to that project and goal? And if you got maybe 6 or 4 completed, less than what you desired, you and your team can do a reflection and say, what was the issue that allowed us to not accomplish that goal? Was it, the boundaries weren't communicated effectively? Was the work effort too large than we anticipated? Did we just not plan well, right? Because that can happen too. Or just sometimes crisis happens and you just have to drop everything and focus on what the task at hand for you and your organization. All those things are really key. And as a leader who is looking both beyond and in the current, you have to find that balance of reviewing the film as they do in sports and assessing what worked and what didn't, and then reapply that effort next time around so that you can be effective in the work that you're doing. So make sure you identify the big task, map it out within a time frame that's accessible based upon the project related, create the time blocking and boundaries and communicate those boundaries to be effective for you and your work, and then reassess those, create brain breaks so that way you're not cognitively thinking about working all the time. You can sustain yourself throughout the project and throughout the work effort season, throughout the effort, and then take a step back and reassess if that work effort worked well for you. If you're looking for some particular tactics that have been beneficial for me in my leadership, Michael Hyatt and Donald Miller have talked quite a bit about what does it mean to create time blocking and ideal work week. So stepping into it, that be prepared to excel and be exceptional in the work effort that you're trying to accomplish. Rather than step into every space and not know what to do, you have a plan, you execute the plan, you reassess the plan based upon an ideal time frame that's beneficial for you and your work to get the initiatives done. There are 3 last advice I would give as you are mapping out this particular strategy. You got to be disciplined. Discipline is key in this effort. It's important for you to say yes when you're supposed to say yes and say no when you're supposed to say no, utilizing the time necessary to focus on what needs to be done at hand rather than just say you're going to do one thing and then not accomplish the other. I know we're human. It happens. We say we're going to work on a particular project from 10 to 2, but then realize that you get caught on social media all day, right? And, don't tell your boss. But be able to discipline yourself, do what's necessary for you to be focused and effective, and communicate that well is key to execute this particular time blocking time blocking strategy effectively. Next, you got to give yourself grace because, again, we're not robots. We're human beings. Things happen. Our mind goes elsewhere. But if you know how you work and you know what's going to take to execute your work well, you can work within those bounds and start small to then grow into something that could be more sustainable and beneficial in your time blocking space for you and your team. And then lastly, communicate with other people. We're doing this in a communal space. You don't have to do this type of time blocking and time management work alone. Invite a friend, have that accountability, find a peer that works either close with you or in a different department or somebody that you trust within your organization to say, hey, we're going to work on this together. Let's effectively execute our work well. And we could be a model for other teams too, who are looking to know how we can get this work done personally and as in our teams, because you two are working in tandem to get the accomplishment done. So again, These are the things that have been beneficial for me in my leadership and helping execute with the teams. We've seen productivity rise. We've seen focus rise. We also see what works and what doesn't based upon the type of person who and what environment they need to be successful. But you got to start somewhere. You got to take some time to do it within a month or a quarter basis to get the true data on your productivity in this time blocking phase. And then you can then make the shifts and changes so you and your team could move towards the goal in efficient manner. Let me know what you think. I hope this shifts your lens and the way that you view productivity and time management within you and your leadership and your team. If you have any tactics that you are leveraging, make sure you drop that in the comments. I would love to answer any leadership challenges that you have. By tapping the survey and responding with your leadership challenge, it'll give us time to get to know you and answer your leadership challenges as well. And subscribe to the Leaders Lens newsletter, where you will get more bite-size and deep dive leadership tactics that make you an effective leader in your organization and for your teams. Let me know what you think. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.